Ramzilla here. I have been gone for a while, or I haven't uploaded any new reviews because I haven't seen any new movies or interesting ones worth talking about. So I did see Starry Eyes, and I didn't like it. I thought it was 2 hours of nonsense. Today we're going to be talking about a movie called The Pyramid.
For the next 91 years, no other tombs are disturbed.
Tell them not to open it up yet. Tell them to hold off.
Until now.
This movie, it came out last year or the beginning of this year. I'm not sure, but just avoid it if you can. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I've seen some bad movies too, but this one just kind of kicks it up a lot. The writing was terrible. The characters were dull. The dialogue was some of the stupidest dialogue I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. I mean, I'll get into all those details later on. So just to give you a brief synopsis of the movie, it's about a group of archaeologists that find a three-sided pyramid in Egypt, and they dig up an entrance and go inside and explore. That's pretty much it. Now, here's the thing. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's gonna be a mummy, or some mummy's gonna start killing them, or some mummy bullshit. No, I'm telling you now, it's not a mummy. So, I guess not even that is worth watching. Anyways, now to get into the movie. Once again, this movie revolves around a father, a daughter, her boyfriend, a camera guy, and this reporter lady. Okay? So it starts off innocently enough in Egypt. This pyramid was discovered. Egypt isn't too happy about that. They're rioting and stuff like that. Um, they have these people digging up the entrance. Once they do hit the entrance, this gas that is created when something has been sealed for a while and then it's reopened. The people that were funding this project tell the people involved with the project that they have to shut it down. They have 24 hours to leave. And so then they're like, oh no, what do we do? This and that. They enter like this whole debate on what to do, whether they should send this little rover called Shorty in, or they should just leave. So anyways, they end up sending the rover named Shorty in to the pyramid before they leave, and what happens is that they use this cheap jump scare where you see this rat looking thing come out at you. I'll get into what it is later, but it looks like a rat, and they're like, oh, what was that? And then they're driving around, and then Shorty just starts going all crazy, and then it just goes offline. So then now they're in the debate of whether they should go get Shorty or just leave. And the girl is like, no, I want to go down there and this and that. And the TV crew's like, oh yeah, we have to follow you, so let's go. So they all end up going in the pyramid. You know where this is heading. Once they're in the pyramid, they're looking for Shorty, and then they find like a little piece of him. Then they end up in this room that has some weapons. And then they find Shorty, and he's all like broken, and the guy that was in charge of him, he's like, oh no, this was on loan. This robot cost $3 million. And by that point, they're lost. They don't know where to go. And then the floor that they're standing on starts cracking. And obviously they fall. And then after that, this is like a mixture of found footage and traditional filming. The camera's not all shaky, so, there's that. So anyways, they fall, and then what happens is that they're all like, are you okay, etc. Da, da, da. And then this boulder out of nowhere falls on Sahir. He's just like, and he's the boyfriend of that one chick. He falls, the boulder falls on him, on his leg, and he's like, ah, and they can't get him out and shit. So then all four of them start, trying to push the boulder. They're like, on three, push the boulder. But, I'm pretty sure it would hurt more to push the boulder because it's against his leg, so I don't know where that bright idea came from. That's what I mean, that some of the things they say or do are really stupid. If I was in their position, or if I was in their shoes and a buddy of mine got his leg stuck in a boulder, there's 4 of us. So this boulder is not like roundish. It's, like kind of squarish and shit. So there's 4 of us. Everybody take a corner, and all 3, lift at the same time. I'm pretty sure they could lift, even that. I mean, it wasn't that big a rock. It was just, it was big, but not that big. So I'm pretty sure they could have. But, I'm not making this movie. So, anyways. Then they're like, what do we do, etc. A typical horror movie cliche. They find this shaft. And the reporter lady's like, oh, I can climb that. And then the camera guy's like, no, don't do it. It's not safe. And she's like, I've been rock climbing my whole life. And I was thinking to myself, is that relevant to the movie? Does it matter that you've been rock climbing your whole life? So anyway, she starts climbing. And she reaches this one point where there's like this little entrance, like this little hole. And that rat thing, like, comes at her and scratches her face, and she falls on the camera guy. She's like, oh, we can't go that way. And then she's like, well, the daughter, then she's like, I can climb it. And then the father's like, look at her face. As if it was a big deal, and she just got a scratch. Anyways, so they find this door, and they're like, well, we can go through that door. And they're like, well, something is blocking it. Obviously, whatever's on the other side, there's a reason why it's blocked. So anyways, they end up unblocking it and leave. And they leave the guy that's stranded the boulder. He's like, we'll be back for you, I promise. And they leave. As they're walking down this corridor, you start hearing this soldier that's looking for them. And then, out of nowhere, they hear this scream. So then the daughter and the father go back, and they're like, stay here, look for the soldier. And the camera guy and the reporter lady are like, so should we wait for them? Should we leave? How do we look for the soldier, So they're just acting kind of stupid. And the father and the daughter, they come back to that one guy behind the boulder, and he's not there. And you just see this trail of blood go up to that shaft. His leg is still under the boulder, obviously, but he's physically not there. So they come back, and this is what I mean when I say the dialogue is stupid. The reporter lady and the camera guy ask, where's Sahir? What happened? And then they're like, oh, he tried to push the boulder and crushed himself. I mean, couldn't he just have told them the truth? I mean, out of all the fucking things he could have told them, he pushed the boulder himself and squished himself. I mean, not even 4 people could push that boulder, and he told them that he magically gained the strength to push it, or carry it, and then crushed himself with it. So fucking stupid. And at least the camera guy had a little common sense, and he was like, you're lying to us, there's no way he could have done that. And then the reporter lady screams in this guy's face, he just goes, ah! And then the daughter pushes her, and he's like, get her the hell away from me. As if he had a choice. I mean, they're stuck together, so what the fuck, man. So anyways, this movie just gets worse from there. Some inevitable deaths happen. I'm not going to get into all that. I will tell you that those rat things are Sphinx cats from, like, back in the day. They've been trapped there as well. Now, before we continue, I'm going to be getting into some spoilers here. If you plan on watching this movie, and you don't want to know what's in that pyramid, then I suggest you skip ahead to find out my rating of the movie. Or if you don't plan on watching this movie and don't give a fuck or you've already seen it, then feel free to stay. You have been warned. Now, as they're progressing through the pyramid, they reach the burial chamber. And in that burial chamber, that's where they buried the pharaoh and shit. They're standing there. This part was kind of cool. The father's like, okay, let's find the exit. And then this hand goes through his chest, and it's holding his heart. And then it rips it out. That was pretty cool. And then they don't know what was that, so they run into this like this cave thing. The camera guy and the girl, and the father's, you think he's dead. And then the camera guy is like, I have to go back. And the girl's like, no, don't do it, don't leave me. And he's like, if we're gonna die anyways, I might as well see what's been killing us and see if I can fight it. If not, well, fuck it. And she's like, no. And he's like, what else am I supposed to do? So he goes and he turns on the night vision, and you see it. It turns out that whatever's attacking is Anubis, the son of Osiris. Anubis is what Egyptians believed, that when they die, Anubis is the one that weighs their soul to see if it's pure or not, and then he would send them to heaven or what this thing was called, the Purgatory. If I'm correct. If I'm wrong, then you go ahead and let me know. I didn't really investigate it. At least that's what I remember. So anyways, it turns out it's Anubis, and he's weighing his soul, and then it turns out that the father's soul is impure, so he dies. And then this guy sneezes, and Anubis is like, what the fuck? So he goes inside the cave where the girl's at, and this was so fucking stupid. Anubis is walking, and there's like, she's like next to this wall on the left, but not hidden. Like if you go behind a wall and you turn to your left, you could see her. And he's just walking, and he's just looking around, and he doesn't see her, like right in front of him. And he just looks to his right, and he goes out the secret doorway. I was just like, what? How stupid can you be? So anyways, the camera guy goes back for her, then he takes her to the chamber, and they're looking for an exit. They find an exit, and they're climbing, and then Anubis is like, roar! So Anubis takes the camera guy down, he dies. And then, I mean, in my thought, before they get lost, remember how I said they were in this room, they find these weapons, she had an axe. The exit shaft was a flat surface, so I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be able to climb that, because he was using the ladder to get up. If I was her, I would have just taken out the axe and cut the ladder where he took him, and that was that. But, it's not my movie. So anyways, he comes back up for her through the ladder, and she takes out this flare and burns him a little bit, and he falls. She makes it out, and then as she's laying down, Anubis goes, "Rawr!" and then grabs her and then pulls her back in. And it goes in black. I thought that was the end of the movie. I was wrong. They still had like another 10-15 minutes left. She's knocked out, and she's tied to this like cross thing where he weighs their soul. And she sees her friend, the camera guy, and Anubis just crushes his head. That was kind of cool. And he's about to take her heart out as he's putting his hand inside her chest. She's cutting herself loose with the axe, and then she puts it in his neck. And he's like, "Oh!" And she's gonna run away, and the Sphinx cats are there, and they start attacking Anubis. And then she makes it out, and she's all wobbly and shit, and then she collapses on the floor. After that, she wakes up, this little kid picks up the camera, and then he's looking at it, and it shows like a selfie point of view. And guess who's behind him? A cat. B, a survivor that was long lost in the pyramid. Or C, Anubis. If you guess C, you are correct. It was Anubis. And he was just there, like, he roars, and then the camera goes in blank, and that movie ends. So that was the pyramid. That was my recap of the pyramid. Why I thought it was a really stupid movie. To be honest, I would skip it. I'm gonna give this movie 1 out of 10 just because it was something else. Just because it wasn't a fucking mummy story. That's why I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10. But just if you find this movie maybe one day on HBO or whatever, and you're like, oh, this one, watch it then. But I wouldn't rent it. I wouldn't spend a $Redbox dollar on it. Just fuck this movie. So there's my review. If you've already seen it and you thought it was good or bad, go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm gonna have more reviews up, so feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do have some other reviews from way back when that you can check out as well. If you have any movie suggestions that you'd like me to watch, feel free to let me know as well. Or if you want me to review, I'm always intrigued in new movies. It can be horror, action, adventure, whatever. I don't really care. That's it. And this is Remzilla signing off.
Help me! Don't look down!